Hi friends, it's Michelle Maddox of Sedona Meditation Experiences with another episode of Sedona Meditation Adventures. Thank you for joining me. It's May, mid-May, getting very hot here in Sedona. So if you're coming to Sedona, be prepared for the heat this spring still and summer. I want to talk with you today about meditation and experiences that can happen when you get into a deep meditation. Specifically an experience that happened for me, which ties in to my ancestral healing work. As I've mentioned in a previous video, I'm working on my practitioner certification to practice ancestral healing, and I wanted to share with you a story that connects meditation with ancestral healing for me. And this story goes back 6 years ago, when I was going through a very challenging time in life. Divorce, my mother was dying, and a very dear mentor who I'd worked with for 20 years was also reaching the end of his life. So it was a very challenging time, and if you've gone through these times in life or anything similar, you know it's like a storm, like a hurricane just battering you. And if you're not practicing any wellness and stress relief and deep self-soothing, you can really get beat up in these times in life. So one thing that I really am grateful for with meditation is the practice and the discipline that it gave me to meditate. I really dove deeper into my meditation practice at that time. I was meditating with a group. We'd meet daily, and I did 45-minute silent meditations, which was really lovely to just dive deep inside, find that really safe place. And though I can't do anything about the storm, I can at least find safe harbor. And it's those moments of safe harbor that help us get through difficult times and, find who we truly are. So, yay, meditation. Now, it was probably about a month or so into this practice when I was deeply, deeply into it. One of my meditations, I had a visitor. And by visitor, I mean somebody appeared in my energy space. I'm pretty visual, and sometimes I pick up visual information. And that's what happened in this experience. I was meditating, and suddenly there was an old grandmother who appeared in my mind. And then I saw her, as I kind of zoomed in on her, I saw her in her kitchen. It was an old-timey kitchen, like with a hearth and a dirt floor. And I was there, just sitting in her kitchen. And she didn't speak to me. It wasn't about communicating. It was just a feeling of safety, of being in Grandma's kitchen and having her there while she's going about her chores, and knowing that she's watching out for me, she's holding space for me, and I'm safe. I'm in the hearth area. And it felt so comforting for me in those meditations. And for several weeks, that's how my meditations would be. I would go visit Grandma, that's what I called her, and just be in that beautiful space that felt safe. Well, I got through those times, thank God, and fast forward a few years when I was introduced to ancestral healing as taught by Daniel 4. It's a process that I am now guiding other people through and on my way to being certified as a practitioner. And part of the process, the second step in the process, once you've identified the primary lineage, one of the 4 primary lineages that you want to focus your healing on, is to make contact with what's called the ancestral guide. It's the spiritual face of that lineage that you can communicate with or receive information from, or get information from. And so I'm doing this step of the process, and I start to feel a guide come through, or a candidate. And you don't just accept right off the bat that the candidate is the guide. There's some questions that you ask. And as I was going through that process, I discovered, okay, this one's an ancestor on the lineage, but he's not the one to serve as my guide, but he can take me to the one who is. So that's what happened. And I let that process kind of play out in my inner space. And he takes me to this grandmother figure that I had seen in my meditations a few years before and hadn't really seen since. And I was really heartwarmed to realize that she is a blood ancestor. She's an ancestor on one of my lineages. And I ended up doing the healing work with her as my guide. So that's how meditation can go sometimes. You can get into these deep places within where your intuition is heightened. You're able to better listen or see or feel however you receive that information. And if you're paying attention, you can have experiences that in a lot of cases are just as meaningful as experiences here in this world of rocks and trees and the three-dimensional world, as we call it here in Sedona. And that's what happened with me. And then to have it tie in to work that I ended up being so deeply attracted to, it's just, I'm still in awe. Like, wow, very cool. My ancestors were speaking to me. Even before I did that DNA test that put me on this whole path of building the family tree and doing the ancestral healing and now becoming an ancestral healing practitioner. So this is the way that the spirit world works. And if you can tune into it, sometimes that magic finds you. And it's affirming that you're on the right path, that you're doing something right, and that this is definitely the way to go. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you're that kind of meditator and want to reach into those deep places, I encourage you to explore meditation. It's a beautiful tool to help really dive in below the surface, below the crusty stuff, below the noise, getting into that real, peaceful, true part of yourself where you can listen. And when you listen like that, life is talking to us all the time. Your ancestors, your spirit guides, nature, all of life, all of these unseen and maybe non-human entities like the trees and the rocks and the wind and whatever calls to you. And sometimes we know it through our preferences in life. We like to sit in the wind, for example. And as you take that a little deeper, maybe you have an affinity for working with wind spirits. Or maybe your love of nature is something even deeper than, just loving nature. And I don't mean to say just to diminish it, but there can be something more personal and more specific in there if you just can dive in and get that information. Now, that doesn't always happen in meditation. I'm not promoting meditation as a way to, tap into these psychic, supernatural things, though you can, but they often come as kind of a side effect of doing meditation work and finding the peace and getting still within yourself. The goal is not to seek these kinds of psychic experiences, but to allow them to naturally bubble up to the surface as a result of the quieting and the peace building that meditation does. So let's do some practice here now. If you're comfortable, or if you want to come outside like I am, I invite you to do that. And then just close your eyes and join me in taking a few full, rich breaths. Filling your body with oxygen and spiritual energy from nature, the sunlight, all of the spirit world, and letting that speak to the cells and the fabric of yourself, of your physical, your spiritual, your emotional, and your mental self. And on the exhale, you can let go of whatever is disturbing your peace, the stories, the fragments of our busy life. And drop the energy down into your body. Make sure that you're fully embodied. Use your breath and take a few full, rich breaths from your chest. Feeling your awareness inhabit your chest. And then dropping your awareness and your breath down into your belly. And taking another few breaths here. And then dropping your attention down to your hips and feet and the parts of your body that are making contact with the earth or the cushion or whatever it is you're seated upon. And feeling the connection to the earth, even through the man-made materials. If you're in a building, your body can always connect to the earth. So just feel that connection. Like you have roots that are energetically finding their way to the earth. And let those roots continue to run deeper into the earth. And as they find their way deeper into the earth, let them find their way deeper into you and your connection to the earth. Noticing how it feels to be grounded and held by the earth. Maybe like being in Grandma's kitchen. We'll breathe here for a few moments, really allowing that connection of peace and groundedness saturate your whole awareness. If you find resistance, see if you can lighten up, let go of the resistance so that you can sink into this peace deeper. As you feel that peace soothe your weary nervous system and help connect you to Mother Earth, just bring your attention to your day and set an intention. May this day be peaceful, and may I move through it with grace and ease. May the people and experiences that are right for me today find their way to me. And may I recognize them when they do. May my heart be filled with love, and my manner loving and kind to all I encounter today. I'm going to ring the tingshes to bring us out. May your day be loving and peaceful. Thank you for joining me today. And I'll offer again, if you're interested in looking into ancestral healing for yourself, I'm doing it on donation basis while I continue accruing the hours that I need to be certified. And I invite you to reach out. I'll include the link to schedule a 20-minute discovery session if you'd like to learn more and talk about it. I'm happy to do that. In the meantime, my friends, may your meditation be rich and your heart be happy. Thanks for joining me. This is Michelle Maddox saying goodbye for now.